My friends, happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Father.
I think it's good to say happy Easter every Sunday of Easter. Because Easter, my friends, is not just one day. It's 50 days. It's the whole season. So I think it's very appropriate to say Easter, happy Easter, every Easter Sunday. Now, today we are looking at yet another encounter between Jesus and his disciples after the resurrection. Now, of course, Easter stories are recorded in all four Gospels, and there are 14 of them. And today we move from the Gospel of John, the last 2 weeks, to the Gospel of Luke, who tells us this, that very day, the first day of the week, two of Jesus' disciples were going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem called Emmaus. And they were conversing about the things that had occurred. So it is late afternoon, and it is the very first Easter Sunday. Two of the disciples are leaving Jerusalem. We know the name of one of them, Cleopas. The other one is unnamed. Most likely, she was the wife of Cleopas. And they are walking to a town called Emmaus, which means warm spring, unlike today. A journey that would have taken about 2 hours or so to complete. Now, where Emmaus is located today in the Holy Land is not clear. There are actually 3 to 5 places that claim to be Emmaus. Now, nobody really knows, but at that time, it was a real place. It was a real village. And in fact, it was a real journey. Now, as they walk, they talk, converse, and debate. It is going to be a long enough walk, a couple of hours. And out of the blue, Jesus joins them. They do not recognize him initially, which, by the way, is not uncommon in the Gospels. Other disciples do not recognize the risen Lord at first as well, though some do. Now, this tells you that there was something different about the risen Jesus. Now he asks them a simple question, and that question comes to them as a surprise. He says to them, "What are you talking about? What are you discussing?" And their response is interesting. They say, "Are you the only one in Jerusalem who does not know of the things that have taken place there these days?" They are shocked because everyone is talking about what happened in Jerusalem. And this stranger appears to not know what everybody else knows. So Jesus engages with them. What sort of things? He invites them to share what is on their heart. He gives them an opportunity to express how they feel. Now they have to tell the story about how amazing Jesus was. He was a prophet, mighty in deed and word. And in fact, the authorities crucified him 3 days ago. And then they end with this statement, with which we can all identify. They say this: but we were hoping that he would be the one to redeem Israel. We were hoping. I think we all can identify with that statement. You know, you can feel their sense of sadness. You can see the sense of despair on their faces. They basically stopped hoping. They lost all hope. Now, today's story is a perfect example of what we talked about on Easter Sunday, when we chose a theme for Easter Sunday. And the theme was this: in the end, everything will be all right. And if it is not all right, it's not the end yet. So have hope. See, in life, we all have hopes. Some of them are more casual, others are more important. Hopes give meaning and purpose to our lives. But above all, I would like to suggest this to you. Hopes are good to have. They are good for our hearts. They are good for our minds, because positive thinking, positive outlook is much more healthy than negative thinking and negative outlook. Hopes are good to have. You know, we can hope for small things like good weather on Sunday morning, and it suddenly rains. And you're kind of disappointed, but that disappointment is not gonna be lasting. It's just rain. But then there are hopes that make all the difference. And those hopes are about important things in life. You know, I think that one of the lessons of this story today is this, at least for me, that as we go and journey through life like those disciples, it's important for all of us to name our hopes. What are you hoping for? To have hopes, to grow hopes. You see, the Emmaus story is about Jesus restoring the hope of the 2 disciples when he breaks the bread and they recognize him. Hope is restored. Pope Francis, when he reflected on this story, he says that Jesus gives the disciples 2 Easter gifts. And I love this. 2 Easter gifts. And the first gift is the gift of joy. Were not our hearts burning within us when he opened the scriptures for us? That's the first gift. And the second gift is the gift of hope. So as we journey through Easter, this is exactly what God wants to give us. Those two Easter gifts. As we journey toward our Emmaus, wherever that Emmaus is, the gift of hope and the gift of joy.